All right, y'all. So I know this one is going to throw some of you guys off guard, but I have recently made the decision that it is okay for people who are non-black to use the word nigga, at least around me. How did this happen? So, as a black person, we've been socially conditioned to believe, accept, and understand that we are the only ones who have license to use the word nigga, and a motherfucker better not say nigger. Nevertheless, the word is just littered across popular culture in the music, in the media, and in urban communities. So what happened? When I moved back to Miami, I started hanging out at a local neighborhood bar. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting on a stool and some guys of Latin descent were behind me. And one of the Peruvian guys was like, hey, so what's going on, my nigga? And I look back and I'm like, whoa, watch that word. Okay? I just left it at that. Then I turned back around and finished drinking my cocktail. And then the bartender, who happened to be a woman of Latino descent, used the word as well. And so then I was like, okay, I got a choice to make in this situation. I can be triggered and upset. I can get up and leave, or I can attempt to develop some sort of understanding of how and why these people are using this word, because the National Black Coalition of Ancestors told me that I'm not supposed to let anybody else that does not look like me use that word. Then I had to have a come to Jesus meeting with myself, which went like this. Quentin, you're the new kid on the block. You like hanging out at this bar. This is these people's bar. They've been coming here for years on end before you even knew what this bar was. Who are you to step into their space and tell them what language to use? So that was the first line of thinking that got me to break down some of those walls and some of those, quite frankly, passed on feelings associated with the word. Now let's face it, I ain't a slave, nor did I live during the civil rights movement. I read enough books and watched enough movies to understand why it is people get upset and some people get triggered when non-black people use any derivative of the word. However, I listened to the context by which these people were using the word. I listened at how freely the word flew off of their tongues. I got to understand the background and the neighborhoods that these people lived in. And I drew the conclusion that, the word is basically interchangeable with homeboy. Like, what up, my nigga? What up, homeboy? Homeboy, please. Nigga, please. Like, that really was it. And as I start to mature and develop a larger disdain for just being angry and cutting up and fussing in public and stuff, it's all about context. And I definitely think in 2017, NIGGA, the context, it's just always a term of endearment in the urban communities. And black people are not the only people who live in urban communities. Hip hop culture has impacted, influenced a lot of people across color lines. And so the other part of my thinking began to go, we as black people can't litter our music and our art with it, then get mad. We want people to give us our money and we want them to admire our style of stuff, but then we want to cherry pick which parts of the culture that they can celebrate and which parts that they can't. You know, for me, it's really an all or nothing type of situation. So the conclusion that I've drawn is that, you know, I'm not easily triggered now or get upset when non-black people use the N-word. Back to the earlier point that I was trying to make about not being part of the civil rights movement or being a slave. Get out of here with that. You see, I'm trying to make a video. Out! Nigga. Don't fuck up the thing. What I was finna say. It's not as if, you know, and I may catch a lot of flack for what I'm about to say, but it's not as if there was ever a point in my life that started in 1983 that I heard the word nigga or nigger and it inflicted so much pain and trauma upon me. Honestly and truthfully, the whole getting mad and the whole what you said, it was a knee-jerk reaction because I was told that that was the reaction that I was supposed to have without thinking. That wasn't, when people say that word, it does not bother me. Now the old heads, the Al Sharptons of the world would argue that the word don't bother us younger ones because we don't know our history and to know what that word meant. And listen, I'm very smart. You know what I'm saying? And if it's one thing I can do, bitch, is read and read. But it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bring upon feelings of pain and PTSD and all of these other things. Now, it's weird because I'm willing to lump people of Latin descent as it relates to this conversation in the okay box. I'm not going to promise you that it would not make me slightly uncomfortable if I passed a bus stop of blue-eyed, blonde-haired children rapping and just my nigga this, my nigga that, my nigga this. That probably would, you know, it would make me uncomfortable. It wouldn't infuriate me. It never has. It wouldn't make me mad, but it probably would move me to be like, yeah, you need to use that word a few times less when you're around me. But nevertheless, now I haven't grown to the point with my new bar associates that I'm up there with them, nigga this, nigga that, nigga, you know what I'm saying? But them now using it in my periphery does not bother me. Does it bother you? Should it bother me? Should it bother you? Let's talk about it down in the comments. You know, lastly, guys, I just look at where we are as a country, where I would like to see us go as a world. It's just about forward progression. And for me, the N-word conversation, like they had it on The View recently and they had it somewhere else. The conversation is so old and so stale and so outdated, and it's been done so many times. And because we've been unable as a country, as a people, as a society to come to some sort of definitive situation about the word, I'm just opting to move on. You know what I'm saying? It's an age-old argument. Who can use it? Who can't? Every point there is to be made about who can and who can't has already been made a million times over. So again, I'm just making the conscious choice to not exert any more energy getting upset over something that is being used in a manner that one would consider a term of endearment and not in a derogatory fashion. That's just me. You know, in certain areas of my thinking, I tend to be a bit more independent in my thoughts and progressive than many. But hey, anyway, drop down in the comments and let me know what you think, and we'll talk about it later. Bye.